Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Conversing with Poets. I just kicked them in. Hello, Delgal. Hello, Judge Death. Hello, Tanya. Welcome back. Welcome back. I have set up my arm today, my microphone arm, because I've been getting really down. Every time I watch back these live streams, I've been getting really down that the audio is just not on point. I know you can hear me, which is great, but I've been using this great microphone from day one, and it doesn't seem to be providing the quality that I would expect, having paid the money for it, right? So hopefully this is going to make a difference. If it doesn't, then I don't know what to tell you. But yes, welcome back to Conversing with Poets. We got some cool discussion topics tonight. We're going to talk about poet laureates and how we feel about poet laureates and our views and stuff like that. And also, we're going to talk about, in part one, we're going to talk about recurring dreams and how often do dreams inspire your poetry, which is going to be an interesting one for me because I don't consider myself a big dreamer. I don't tend to dream a lot. And if I do, I certainly don't remember them when I wake up. There might be once in a blue moon where I can actually remember the dream, and then by the time I've boiled the kettle and made a coffee, I've forgotten it. So it might not be damn that Mike Miser. Damn that Mike Miser. I'm not sure what that means. Is that a brand of mic? This is a Blue Yeti, a Logitech Blue Yeti, which are good mics, good first microphones. They're not like the creme de la creme, but they should be sounding a lot better than they have been in the playback. Speaking of playback, I don't know if you saw my community tab, but the last live stream that we had a bit of tech heat miser reference. Okay, sorry, that went over my head. Sorry. Um, the last playback I had to delete because of the tech difficulties. For some reason, the playback deleted the whole first hour of our live stream, and then it started where the music video started. So that was strange. Then it got a copyright strike, and then it had a hate comment on it. So I just removed it. But really, I could have probably disputed the copyright strike because I provided my own commentary. But never mind, never mind. We're here tonight. We're going to discuss poet laureates. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes just for people to drop in. As always, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. I'm going to try and get all of our live streams to at least 20 likes. So 10 likes by the end of part one, and then 20 likes by the end of part two. How is everyone? How are you all doing? How have you been since Sunday? How was your Monday and Tuesday? I think Tanya, you're in the States, so your Tuesday is probably maybe just beginning. But how are we all doing since we last spoke? What's been happening? What's new? What's new in the poetry world? Anything good? Any juicy gossip? I can see myself headbutting this microphone at least once by the end of the stream. It looks a bit uncomfortable. Is it a bit too high? No, if anything, it's a bit too low. If any, 5 by 5, fair enough. If anything, it's a bit low. I can see myself headbutting it. Um, yeah, maybe I can. I kind of want it as close as possible because it's definitely sunk a little bit, I think. But maybe that'll do. All right, we got 6 viewers and only 5 viewers and only 4 likes. So if you're watching and you haven't hit that like button yet, make sure you hit that like button so I know we're ready to get into it. And we're going to talk about recurring dreams and how how much do they inspire our poetry, or how often do we wake up from dreams, and how vivid are our dreams, and do we write poetry about it? 5 likes. Oh goodness, this is definitely this is definitely a recurring theme. I have no idea why why it's doing that. Every stream with this guy, I know. I don't know why it's doing that. I see 4 likes on my screen for some reason. Yeah. Although it did say 5 likes at the start of the stream before I actually switched it on. It said 5 likes. So for some reason, every time I click go live, it drops a like. I don't know why. Mm, lovely. All right, we've got 7 viewers and only 4 likes. So smash that like button and let's get into discussing dreams. Is there anyone here who is a vivid dreamer? Because I think that's a thing. Apparently, you can actually train your brain to have vivid dreams. Is there anyone here who has a vivid dream on the regular? If you're just jumping in, make sure you hit that like button. I'm just putting it to the chat if anyone here has vivid dreams. If anyone has regular vivid dreams, I tend to forget my dreams. In fact, I tend to I never I wake up and have no idea what I dreamt about most of the time. Every now and then there is occasion where I kind of wake up and remember the dream and think, "Oh man, that was great," but by the time I've made my first coffee of the day, it's forgotten. I am Gav. Hello, Nano. Nano's in the chat, everyone. Say hello to Nano. My dreams can be quite lucid at times. It's uncanny. That's fantastic. Yeah, I was saying there are even videos for it on YouTube where you can train your where you can train your brain to have a lucid, vivid dream, which is interesting. Tell us about your lucid dreams. And have you ever written a poem based on one of your lucid dreams? There have been many occasions when I've written a poem based on a dream. Obviously, I haven't not added every detail of my dream. I tend to be a surrealist poet for the most part. So dreams are work. Yeah, there's one way to look at it, isn't it? Dreams are work as poets. They can definitely be a part of the job description. Lucid dreamer. I'd love to hear about your one of your lucid dreams, No, if you feel comfortable sharing, of course, and whether or not it's inspired a poem. I remember once I had a very, very lucid dream. I was running in the forest. I was running in the forest and I was running away from something. I fell down a never-ending ditch, which is interesting. Any um psychologists or psychoanalysis cysts that are watching this might be able to leave a comment in the playback about what that means. But yeah, I remember running in the forest and then falling down a ditch and then just falling and falling and falling. Not regularly, but do have vivid ones. Plus, I can go back to the dream as well. Interesting. I definitely don't have that ability. Dreams also tend to stay with me for a long time. Thankfully, not many of them are bad. That's good. Although, yeah, I tend to, if ever I have a vivid dream, 9 times out of 10, it's a horror one or a bad one. Go figure, right? I love horror, so that kind of makes sense. I remember having one in a haunted hotel once, one of those where you're screaming and you can hear yourself screaming and you're trying to wake up but you won't. Have you guys ever had that? Almost like sleep paralysis, but not quite sleep paralysis. Or is it sleep paralysis? I remember once having sleep paralysis and dreaming of 2 angels above my bed, but they were sucking my soul. My soul. Um, that was wild. It was scary, and I could hear myself, and I could consciously feel myself trying to move my arms, but nothing was happening. It was weird. I would love to write a poem based on my dreams. The only reason I can think of that I haven't yet is because my lucid dreams are bonkers. Hey, that would make for a good poem. I mean, I'd read it. I would definitely read it. I think falling into a ditch can be interpreted as hiding, something to hide, etc. Fair enough. I mean, I want to hide from the world for sure. Ironically, says the YouTuber who goes live 3 times a week. But yeah, I've kind of, I mean, I posted it in the community tab. I think everyone here commented on it. I kind of locked myself in my room the last day or two, and just under the covers and just hiding from the world. But I was excited for this today. I've been okay today because I had this to look forward to. Yeah. I think we'll start ride-alongs in January, guys, to be honest with you. Um give myself another month of these live streams and just kind of figure out what my new routine is before before piling on other stuff. My dreams are crazy, so many quick snippets of different things happening that make no sense. I think the last lucid dream I had was that I dreamt that I was dreaming. Nice. Woke up from my fake dream and still remembered I was dreaming in real life. Oh my god, that must be kind of weird. Yeah, for sure. Not sure which dream you've woken up from. Guys, can you imagine that? Like waking up in your from your fake dream, but still asleep, and then living out a whole day to then wake up and realize you were that was all a dream. Yay, how fun, Adam. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna get everything all set up and ready to go for January. It'll be the first Sunday of January. You heard it here, folks. First Sunday of January will be our return to ride-alongs. That is meta, dreaming about dreaming. Do we know of any? Can anyone tell me if there are any poems that are inspired by lucid dreams or anything like that? Anyone that's just popping in, hello, welcome. Do feel free to get involved in the chat. Hello, Kaylee. I was just saying, I could see people popping in. I was just saying, feel free to get involved in the chat. We're just talking about lucid dreams. And if anyone's had lucid dreams, I am Gertha says she has them. They have them on I do it every time, sorry guys, I assume. Um, they have them on a regular, and we're just kind of discussing lucid dreams and whether or not they've inspired poems. Maybe Edgar Allan Poe. I would imagine Edgar Allan Poe probably has written a poem about one of his dreams. You'd find a lot with the surrealist poets. That was a technique for writing poetry. Has anyone here actually? Uh, I'll raise my hand for this. I've done it once or twice. Tried to encourage lucid dreaming. As I said before at the start, you can actually find videos on YouTube, and I think if you watch them or listen to them every night whilst you're falling asleep for a week, you you start lucid dreaming. Hi, Garage Poets. How is your dog? I have been worrying about it ever since you had to take off. How is your dog? Hello, everyone, just jumping in. I can see the viewer count going up. Hello, welcome to Conversing with Poets. We're just talking about lucid dreaming and how we can use that to our advantage as poets. Please, as always, be encouraged to get involved in the chat. Just keep it respectful. And don't forget to hit that like button. It's so important. Let's get to 10 likes by the end of part one. My dog is okay. Okay, good. That panicked me. If not a little bit. Yeah, I was very worried when you said the dog was bleeding everywhere. Um, we were all a bit worried. So I'm glad to hear that the dog is okay. He cut his foot and cut his claw clean off, but he is okay. Ouch. Yes, my little cocker spaniel has got um two claws on the side. Well, not two claws. He's got claws on each paw, just a little bit up from his leg. They're useless and they're very floppy. And sometimes when he chases a tennis ball, he sort of dives on it and it rips the claw. He's ripped it off a couple of times, so I understand. I was very worried too. Yes, yeah. When you said it, I Kubla Khan, Kubla Khan, BB Ezra. Hello, welcome to the Conversing with Poets series. I don't think I have seen you. I don't think I've seen you on one of these before. So welcome to the live stream. I've tried to encourage lucid dreaming, but the best dreams that have inspired some of my poems happen through regular sleep. Sure. Oh, Coleridge's poem Kubla Khan. Am I saying that right? Kubla Khan, Kubla Khan was a dream that got interrupted by a visitor at the door. All right, wicked. I'm going to look into that. Thank you very much, BB Ezra. Kubla Khan. Maybe in the break we can all read it. I don't know. Coleridge. Uh, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay, maybe I'll read it in a second. Towards the end of the before the break, I'll maybe read that poem aloud for everyone. Thank you so much, BB Ezra, for sharing that. That's great. He was chasing a fly. I love dogs, right? I love dogs. Could you say a lot of poems are written by? Could you say a lot of poems are written by the poem dreaming? Could you say a lot of poems are written by the poet dreaming? Possibly. I'm just trying to work that out in my head. Yeah, possibly. Possibly. I mean, you could say that about any creative, really. Um, yeah, that's an interesting thought. You could say that about any artist, really. Is an artist, and is an artist dreaming, creating art because it's a creative mind? Probably not, because then you could say, well, everyone that dreams is an artist. I don't know. You guys tell me. Is an artist or a poet or whatever dreaming? Is that them creating work? My friend used to do lucid dreaming. She has a poem about it. Fantastic, fantastic. I'd love, I'd love to hear about it from your friend if ever she gets a second to introduce us. Hello, everyone jumping in. We've got 11 concurrent viewers on my screen, but I think we all know that my screen is not very reliable. Yeah, 10 viewers now, it says. And only 7 likes. So if you're just jumping in, please do hit that like button. Show some love. Show some love. It really does help the video. All right, let me read that poem, Kubla Khan, by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, or A Vision in a Dream, a fragment. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers, were girdled round. And there were garden bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree. And here were forests, ancient as the hill, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover. It's me reading, guys. It wouldn't be me if I didn't struggle with words. Um, Let me start that stanza again. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast, thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift half-intermitted burst, huge fragments faltered like rebounding hail, or chafy grain beneath the thresher's flail. And mid these dancing rocks, at once and ever it flung up momently the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with amazing motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the wave, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain in the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, and sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song? To such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, Beware, beware! His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honeydew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. Thank you so much, BB Ezra, for recommending that. So that apparently was written. Remind me again. That was apparently written about a dream that was disturbed, I think BB Ezra said. Let me have a look real quick up on the chat. Coleridge's poem Kulakan was a dream that got interrupted by a visitor at the door. Excellent. So let me quickly catch up on the chat. She is the co-host of my open mic. If you come to the open mic, she might read it. Okay, wicked. Where is your open mic? You have not seen me. I'm US based, so not always on at the same times. That's cool. But happy to catch this. Wicked. It's great to have you here. It's always amazing to see new faces as well as, of course, returning regulars. I have it in a poetry anthology, not sure which. Good poem. Hey, Nikki, welcome back to Conversing with Poets. Good to see you. I must admit, when I posted that thing on the community, I was scared that you might take it to heart. So I hope you haven't. I'm good to see you. Honestly, don't worry about it. It's all good. I have a hard time getting into these old poems. The language is too out of place for my brain. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I don't think I've come across that poem before, so that was my first exposure to it. And it's always hard to read aloud when you haven't come across it before. Well read, good sir. Thank you very much. As always, I kind of stumbled here and there, but as I say, that was the first time I've ever read it, so it's to be expected. Hey, Nikki, nice reading. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Our open mic is on Zoom every Friday. Okay, cool. Do you have like a website? Is it called the Garage Poets Open Mic? Or, yeah, leave a link for it in the chat. Or even better, leave it as a comment in the playback. So that way more people can see it and we can click on it anytime. If you do have a link for it, if I stream it to YouTube, you could watch the last couple streams to get an idea of what to expect. Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think I've spilt some coffee on myself and I don't know how. I don't know how. All right, so we've kind of discussed dreaming. Oh, before I move on, actually, Nikki, we're talking about lucid dreaming and whether or not we've written any poems designed, designed, inspired by our lucid dreams. Have you written any poems about dreams that you've had? I did it again, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed. I looked at the mic. I should have looked at the webcam. Why am I so... You read it beautifully. He took a nap and was woken up by a friend and never finished it. That's always the way, isn't it? You know, as I've said, I don't often lucid dream. I don't often remember my dreams at all, but it's always the way when you're having a great dream and then your alarm clock goes and it's like the end of the world. It's like, no, please, please, just leave me in my bed. Don't make me get out of bed. But thank you so much. I don't know if I did read it beautifully, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just going to wait to see if Nikki has any experience with lucid dreams and writing poetry. I know you also write fiction, Nikki, so maybe you've probably dreamt and written something. I've written about dreams I've had. Oh, wicked. Not sure if I've ever had a lucid dream. Mine are usually pretty vivid though. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, in terms of my dreams, when I first get into bed and close my eyes, obviously I visualize things, but I don't know if that is that classed as dreaming or is that just like visualizing thoughts? Because once I fall asleep, that's it. I'm out and I don't remember anything when I wake up, which kind of is annoying. Which it goes back to always write. If you have an idea, for me especially, if you have an idea, don't say to yourself, "Oh, that's really good idea. How could I ever forget that?" Because I will forget that. Yes, you could join just to listen. Wicked, wicked. All right, let me check my notes because we've still got 30 minutes. We've still got 30 minutes of the first half. So what have I got written down here? All right, let's go with kind of tie. Does it tie in? Not really, but I'll make it sound like it ties in. When's the best time to read poetry, or when's the best time to write poetry? Do you guys think? Are you guys a early morning riser and you read poetry first thing in the morning? Do you write poetry first thing in the morning? Um, when's the best time for poetry for you guys? I love. Was in the routine of having a green tea. I've discussed this before. I was in the habit of um, drinking a green tea and reading poetry just before bed. We have people just listening sometimes after coming a few times. They feel comfortable enough to read. Oh, that's great. I'd love to check it out one Friday. What time are your open mics? Are you UK based, US based? The majority of my inspiration happens in the evening. I'm a night owl, so it helps. Interesting, interesting. You know what, guys? I used to be a night owl. I used to stay up all night writing into the early hours, and I used to get really inspired by it. But then it never worked for me. All of a sudden, I had to get up early in the morning, have a shower, have my coffee, have my breakfast, do what I had to do, and then come and write during the day. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need to remember that. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boston. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My phone is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why is my phone right in? Oh, because I got my mic activated. See, this is what I'm telling you guys. Me and technology just don't get on. I didn't even realize I had the dictaphone active and I was talking and it kept writing Eastern Standard Time everywhere. Okay. Uh, Garage poet. I usually find it easier to write early mornings and near midnight. I can write during the day, but my mind isn't as focused, and having ADHD doesn't help. Interesting. And near midnight. That's interesting. Yeah, I used to be a night owl in my what early 20s, about 10 years ago, let's say. About 10 years ago, I used to stay up into like 2, 3 in the morning, and the moon would literally be right outside my window, and I used to find it really inspiring. But then I got old, I guess, and now I can't do that. Now I have to write during the day. As you guys know, I'm not really writing at the moment, but I will be soon, I think. I will be soon. As I said, I've got an idea for something. We have a Facebook group with all the info if you use Facebook. I deleted my Facebook a long, long time ago. And now recently regret it because I'm putting together a family archive and I've lost a load of photos that were on Facebook. But yeah, my relationship to Facebook is similar to my relationship with Instagram. Depends on the day. When I have free time, mostly when I'm sitting outside or at my desk. Yeah, late night time for me. That's while it feels like it is quiet. Yeah, there's definitely something about night and just the quiet white noise of a evening. As someone who works or used to work a lot of night shifts as security, I tend to decline night shifts now because it's not good for health. But there is definitely something that's soothing about the night. That also, I just love the thought. I just love the thought about you know being awake when everyone else is asleep, and almost as if you're experiencing a secret. Everyone's sleeping and they're missing out on the world. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like you're living some sort of secret life while everyone's asleep. You're out walking around like a spy. I'm really like don't know what I'm talking about, but there is something about it. Get those words whenever possible. Get those words whenever, mostly when I'm sitting outside. Absolutely, JD. That's what we discussed last time, keeping a journal. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, where I need to find that. I said I was going to get my journal out and start doing that again, and I never did. Yeah, that makes sense. There is something romantic about the night shift. Thank you so much for summarizing. You guys do such a good job of summarizing my word farts. I write little snippets as they come through the day. Then during freer moments, I complete my pieces, usually mid-morning. Love to read poetry when it's raining. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, for me, there's something so calming and relaxing about, laying in bed with a green tea and a warm bedside lamp. For me, it's a Himalayan salt crystal with a light in the middle, and just settling down to a nice book of poetry. Reading when it's raining is such a vibe. By the way, guys, thank you so much for hitting that. We've reached 10 likes or 11 likes way before we finish part one. So thank you. Thank you so much. Baby Ezra, reading when it's raining is such a vibe. I love the rain. Oh, Adam, you're old. You're really old now. Yeah, I am 31 and a half. Too old. Too old. I love the rain. I will actually actively go out for a walk when it's raining because I really like it. I have 3 kids, so the nighttime is when the house is quiet enough to write. Sure, sure. How old are they? Are they teenagers? Are they little ones? Yeah, get that journal, mate. Yeah, I need to find it. I need to find it. Yeah, it's definitely not out here. I was looking for my quill and ink. I was going to see if my quill and ink was out here to show you guys, but it's not. Lol, 31 and a half. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I said today that actually, secretly, I'm 29 because COVID, we lost 2 years because of COVID. So really, I'm still 29, guys. That's how it works, right? Hopefully that's not too distracting for you. Is that I can't see because there's a slight delay, so we'll have to see if that still works. 3 girls, 16, 10, and 4 years old. Wow. Okay, that's cool though. That's actually like that nicely spaced out. That must be kind of nice. Nope, that just looks stupid with the shadow on my forehead. We'll move back. Let's move back. That looked silly. But now I can't. Now I'm going to have to wait until the preview catches up to see if that's working or not. Goodness gracious, I do faff about, don't I, guys? Do, 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 do. It is nice. The older one is a big help with the youngest. Good, 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 good. Oh, thank you so much, whoever sent that heart. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And if you're just hopping in, as always, guys, just hit that like button for me, and do feel encouraged to get involved in the chat. We don't bite. We don't bite. We're sort of kind of talking about lucid dreams. We're talking about the best time to write and read. Do you guys read poetry just before you write, or is it kind of not? Thank you so much for these hearts coming in. I appreciate it. I can see it. Do you guys write before you read before you write, or is it not that deep? I was looking at other channels today to try and get inspired about videos and stuff. Two sons, 39 and 41. Nice. I just have a 2-year-old puppy who's crazy. Look at the state of my hand. I don't know if you guys can see that. You can scratch up my hand. Cheeky boy. If I read a lot of poetry, I'll get inspired to write a day or two later. That's cool. Is that every time? If that's every time, that's a good little routine, good little trick. If you're in for a while, I'll just read a couple of poems, and then 2 days later, boom. Get yourself a new journal and keep it beside your bed. Record your dreams the moment you wake up. Turn that into poetry, mate. Make your dreams work for you. That's a real kind of inspirational talk right there. Make your dreams work for you. I got a feeling that this journal is actually by my bedside, and I just haven't looked properly. It sort of blends in with books, so my eyes scanning the shelves, my eyes might not have picked up on it. I read poetry every day. Wow, that is a really good habit to be in. That's great. I read poetry every day, but I don't necessarily need to read before I write. Yeah. I love the word faff. Is that how you spell it? We don't use it here. Um, I don't know how it's spelt actually. I've never spelt it. Faff. Yeah, that looks about right. Faffing about. Stop faffing about. I haven't thought of it like that. I'm not sure if it's every time. I think the danger is the danger is adopting the mindset that I said and thinking, oh, I need to write poetry, and then expecting it. That might kill it. So ignore me. Ignore me. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like each culture has a different slang terms for things. Does anyone else find they get stressed when reading sometimes, especially when in a rut and feeling like you can't write yourself? It's like a weird comparison thing. Interesting. The only time I ever get annoyed with writing is when I've reached the bottom of a page and realised I haven't taken in anything, and it happens a lot. So I end up reading the same page about 3 times sometimes. But I no, I don't think I've ever found myself comparing as much. More aspiring to, I think. But that's just me. I'd be interested to see if anyone else has that. As I said, the only time I get annoyed when reading is when I find myself having to read the same page 3 or 4 times because I'm just not registering what's going on. Yeah, I think that's right. We use it in Ireland. Okay, yeah, yeah. If I'm in an active writing phase, I stay away from reading poetry. Interesting. Interesting. I tend to read what what I'm struggling to write. What do you mean by that last bit? I tend to read what I'm struggling to write. But that's an interesting one, not reading while you're in a writing phase. I suppose subconsciously you've also got to be careful that you don't end up subconsciously writing what you've read a couple days before, which is always a danger. It's happened to me a couple of times. I think I've written the most original thing, and then I realize, wait, hang on a minute. That's basically what I read the other day, but reworded and with different characters or whatever. I think I understand that feeling, Kaylee. It makes sense, Kaylee, especially when it's something I feel I could have written myself. There's always that I don't know if you guys have ever come across it. I don't There's always that kind of those times when you read something and you're like, "Oh man, that's a good line. I wish I'd written that." I have to apologize, BB Ezra. Um, the little love heart in the chat that you can see on your screen is in a different place on my screen, and I thought your message said I tend to read what I'm struggling to write, but now it's moved up. I can read it properly, and it says I tend to read when I'm struggling to write. So I apologize. So if you're typing out a whole explanation, I apologize, and you can just call me an idiot. That's fine. I probably explained poorly. It's like it's like you because you feel you can't write. It's like because you feel you can't write, it gets stressful to read others' work because you feel you can't do it. I don't know, maybe a jealousy thing. Yeah, yeah. I think I can kind of relate to that. I can relate to that. Because you so desperately want to be productive. I went through a phase before I kind of decided I wanted to stay in bed and hide away from the world recently. I used to get really angry. Well, not really angry to, I might have over exaggerated there. I used to get annoyed and frustrated and angry, but not really angry. Um, if I'd got to the end of a day and hadn't been productive, and then I couldn't sleep all night, I'd be rolling around in bed, annoyed because I hadn't been productive that day. I don't get writer's block often, but I give myself a hard time and make myself feel like trash compared to other poets these days. I don't care if my poetry doesn't measure up to others. Yeah, Yeah, that's the mindset we should all adopt, but easier said than done, right? Oh, it's okay, Kaylee. That also makes sense as well. Yeah, for sure. Just a typo. Lol. Sorry when I'm struggling to write. No, you didn't. There wasn't a typo on your end. It's my fault. Because as I say, the little love heart button in my chat box very often blocked words that you guys are sending, and my brain just assumed it said uh, you read when what you're struggling to write rather than when. It's my brain that's being an idiot, not you. I must take a leaf out of your book with that. Yeah. I'm a little bit chilly, guys. A little bit chilly. Apologies. Judge Steph needs to adopt that thinking. Definitely. Me too, guys. We're all the same. Yeah. Definitely need to adopt that. You know, I had a bit of a hissy fit today. Is anyone else? You can call me Grinch, and admittedly, I think I've said before, Halloween is my Christmas. But I got had a bit of a hissy fit today because Mariah Carey's Christmas song came on the radio, and I'm just so over that song and other Christmas songs that come out every single year. Can we get some new ones, please? Maybe we should all get together and write a Christmas song and make it number one. The royalties on that would be very, very nice. But yeah, I had a bit of a hissy fit. I had to turn the radio off. I listen to music before writing. Yeah, especially again, Nikki. I know you write fiction and fantasy and stuff. I always listen to Lord of the Rings soundtrack or movie themes while writing prose and fiction and stuff. And I tend to write depending on the mood I want to be in. A lot of the time, I write. I listen to Elizabethan music when I'm writing poetry because you guys know that's my vibe. And read for inspiration when I'm struggling, usually a similar thing to what I'm hoping to achieve. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Lol, I love Christmas. Fair enough. Christmas isn't really that big of a thing for me. As you all know, I love Halloween, but I wouldn't say no to a fresh Christmas song. The Killers have some good Christmas songs. Do they really? Okay. I did not know that. I'll have to look that up. Comparison is the thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt. Yes. And yet I can't help but do it. I can't stand that song. Yeah, I think it's I don't know, I feel like it might have run its course, but maybe I'm just a Scrooge. Isn't there a new guys, isn't there a new Christmas Carol film coming out? Can't even remember the name of the thing, the name of the story. I think it's a Christmas Carol, right? With Scrooge and the ghosts. Of course, the one with the ghosts would be the one I remember. All right, guys, why don't we take break a little bit early? 11 likes. Thank you so much. Just going into part two. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I love you guys for sharing that. I love Christmas too, but like Adam, Halloween is my favorite time of year. Yeah. Do you create playlists for your characters with songs that would fit them? I love doing it. Really inspires. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Game of Thrones Stark score is great. I listen to a lot of film scores because it. Thank you for the love heart. 12. Thank you, Judge Death. Judge Death is um definitely my guardian with likes. Why am I so awkward? The Game of Thrones Stark score is great. I listen to a lot of film scores because it has lyrics. Sometimes I end up writing them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love Halloween as well. Definitely. It's just a fun time for me. I love spooky stuff. I love the theatrics of it. Okay, guys, let's take a break a little bit early. Let's take 5 minutes. I just need to use the loo anyway. And then when we get back, I want to discuss poet laureates and how you guys view poet laureates and stuff like that. So let's take 5, and I'll see you on the other side. There's a new catchphrase. Let's take 5, see you on the other side. Boom. I'm so weird. Right. Yeah. Hey guys, pop the heater on real quick just to warm up a little bit. I did happen to listen back, and as we're talking about comparison and putting ourselves down, uh, I have to admit, I listened to it back and I'm a bit down because the audio still sounds really grainy. And I know you guys might say, "Oh, it's fine," but it's really not. So I've taken the windshield off, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference anyway. I honestly, I don't know what else to do. All the settings should be fine. Um, everything should be working fine, but it's not. For some reason, it's just not happening for me. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take your guys' advice, and but it's hard not to. Let me just catch up on the chat. I hope we're still here. If we're all still here, spam that love heart or spam the emojis. Let me know we're all here and ready to continue, and we can talk about poet laureates. The Game of Thrones score. Judge Death gets you in the zone. Get that heating on, Adam. Yes, I saw that as I walked away, and I thought, absolutely, I will. So I'm just warming the shed up a little bit, and then we'll figure it out whether or not I can turn it off or not. I do. I have soundtracks to my books. Thank you so much for that, love heart. Thank you very much. We're here, and we're ready to go. To my books that I listen to before I start writing. Then it's film scores when actually getting words down. Awesome. Oh, absolutely. I have so many playlists on Spotify. They are songs that have inspired my world building, inspired characters and music. I'd imagine being the sound of that setting. 100%. Well, I hear you loud and clear, mate. You can hear me. You can hear me. But if you go to my channel and listen to the Early Hours poetry album, or go to Spotify, iTunes, stuff like that, and search the Early Hours and listen, the crispness of the mic is the same microphone. That's how I should be sounding in these live streams, and it's just not happening for me. And it's annoying because, again, we go back to comparing, which we shouldn't be doing. But when I go and watch the people that do live streams on YouTube that I watch, the paranormal stuff, and they sound crystal clear, it does. I beat myself up. I'm like, well, what my microphone should be doing that, and it's not. So it brings me down. But guess what, guys? During the break, I found my journal. I found my journal, and I was actually writing this at the height of my issues. But as you can see, there's because I write with quill and ink, there are ink smudges everywhere. So we are all met. Let's talk about poet laureates. I did try Who Do You Watch? The guy's called J Cart's Arts. I'll put it in the chat. J Cart's Arts. Just because of all the gossip that was going on in the paranormal world. So he was discussing all the juicy gossip. I've said it before. That channel is what inspired me to start these live streams with you guys. So yeah, it's thanks to him that we're here. But his audio is crystal clear, and it makes me jealous that we were talking about. It makes me jealous, and I beat myself up because this microphone should be sounding crystal clear, but it really isn't. My poetry notebooks are covered in coffee marks. I love that. That's such a poet thing, isn't it? That's great. That's such a writer thing. Wicked. I love that. That's cool. Right, let me grab my mug. Just gonna grab my mug like that, and let's talk about poet laureates. Some cities have poet laureates, some states, I would imagine, have poet laureates. Over here, counties have poet laureates. And of course, you've got national poet laureates. You've also got youth poet laureates. Amanda Gorman, I believe, was the youth poet laureate for the States. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe she was just poet laureate. I think she was youth poet laureate, though. I love the conditions of these notebooks. They are also poems. Yeah, for sure. I would be interested to read that journal, actually. The state in which my mind was when I started that would be interesting to read back, for sure. Um, what was I talking about? Poet laureates. Yeah. How do we feel about poet laureates? I mean, they're like the rock stars of the poetry world, right? They are esteemed poets, especially the National Poet Laureate. For those of you who don't know it, it's currently Simon Armitage. Before him, it was Carol Ann Duffy, who I believe I spoke about in my reaction video. If you haven't got a if you haven't got a collection of Carol Ann Duffy, you absolutely have to. But I yeah, it's a dream of mine to become a poet laureate. I don't know if I ever will or how I will, but that's a dream of mine to become a poet laureate. Unfortunately, my county, the county of Surrey, I live in Surrey. I live just outside of London, but the county of Surrey doesn't have a poet laureate scheme, unfortunately. I wouldn't like to be a poet laureate. Interesting. This is too much commitment. That is too much commitment. I do enjoy Simon Armitage for sure. Interesting. So they actually don't hold a gun to your head and say you have to write a poem for whatever. You have sort of flexibility. Obviously, there's expectation, but you don't necessarily have to do it. But it is a dream of mine to, to be a laureate in some capacity. That would be amazing. I wouldn't like to be a. I applied for poet laureate of my city. Wicked. Now the poet who won is always asking me to do her work. I just had to email her during the break. Wait, I'm always asking for juicy gossip. I'm not going to ask who this is. Are you saying she's asking you to ghostwrite her poems for her, or just admin work? It might not be as juicy gossip as my head went to in the first place. It's my dream too. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. I don't really see it happening, but you never know. Maybe I can be the poet laureate of my house. There you go, guys. I'm the poet laureate of my house. Sorry if you heard me slurping. I learned so much from reading poet laureates' work. They are actually the reason I left Instagram. Interesting. When I saw Billy Collins had less than 6,000 followers. Yeah, yeah, but my I mean, I hate Instagram. I think I haven't shied away from that. I haven't. I know, right, Judge Jeff. I've never been a gossip person, but it's this paranormal gossip has done things to me. It's changed me as a person. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say. I would say remember the times in which we live. I'm not on Instagram, but hey, I do YouTube, right? So that is something to consider. I'm always here to advise you guys. I wouldn't recommend completely turning your back on uh, uh, modern outlets, let's say. She wants me set up. She wants me to set up a workshop for her and do all the reaching out. Okay. Um, reading with her all the poets who applied. Okay. I know that, to be fair, I know that laureates do have a team behind them. I know that there's like a whole team behind the laureateship. You've got the secretary and stuff like that. But yeah, my head went straight to the gossip. Sorry, Judge Jeff. I know, right? I know. Wow. I thought she was asking you to ghostwrite poetry for her. I love Billy Collins. Yeah, hasn't he got a masterclass out? He's got a masterclass out, I'm pretty sure. How does other people feel about laureateship? Some people might not even like laureates. I did reach out to spotlight one of the laureates, Warwickshire laureate, I think she was. And we were all game to put her in the Poetry Cove magazine, but then it just never came to fruition. But she does still follow like. There's no bad blood or anything. Before we go down that road of gossiping, there's no bad blood. But I just had to publish the magazine, and she was just really busy. But she seems really nice. I'm sure she was Warwickshire laureate. but I could be wrong there. Don't quote me on that. I agree. I just finished horoscopes for the dead recently. So funny. Well, I wouldn't put it past her. Oh, really? Billy Collins is awesome. That is funny, and his masterclass is epic. Ah, have you done his masterclass? Okay, have you done his masterclass? As I know, we've got a couple of people here from the States. I'm curious, how does your laureateship work? Is it by city? Is it by state? I know obviously you've got have you got a national laureate? I know Amanda Gorman was a youth laureate. Do you have just a regular laureate? I'm sure you must do, I would imagine. I would imagine you'd have a normal just a regular laureate if you've got a youth laureate. But do you do it by city? Do you do it by state? Do you do it by both? Do you have a city and a state? Dan Spears is poet laureate of Haverhill, Massachusetts. Is MA Massachusetts. He attends my open mic usually every week. Wicked. Fantastic. Is it by town? Because I don't think over here in the UK, I don't think cities have laureates. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think cities have laureates. I think it's more counties. And if anyone in the chat from the UK can correct me on that, please do, because I don't want to give out false information. But I think over here it's by county and then by nation. I apologise. I didn't mean to disparage Insta. No, 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 no. If anyone disparages Insta, it's me. Not at all. I believe in using modern vehicles for poetry, and yes, I have done his class. Yes, our national laureate is appointed by the Library of Congress. Okay, fantastic. No, no, don't apologise. As I say, nobody expresses their hatred towards Instagram more than I do, which is ironic because one of my biggest videos, not my biggest, but my second biggest video is about poetry for Instagram. I just fell out of love with it. I don't like Zuckerberg very much, but I really don't like Instagram's algorithm and their constant need to have every other social media involved. As soon as TikTok came out, at Instagram Reels, they made IGTV to try and knock YouTube off of the pedestal. Very yeah, yeah. I miss the old Instagram where it was just photos and you know. I understand that Instagram like uh, boomed, and they had to do something about what was showing up on people's stories. But I think it just all got overcomplicated, is my personal opinion. But again, it's ironic because I know a lot of my viewers have come from my Instagram videos. Here in Ireland, I know Belfast has a city laureate. Interesting. Okay. Also a really good poet served in 2014. Okay. The National Beat Poets Association appoints laureate. Ah, this heart. There must be a way for me to get rid of this heart. It looks like there's a word after laureate. Well, but there's no money involved. Sure, I think that's the case for many laureates, especially over here in the UK. I think it's all done on a voluntary basis. But again, I could be wrong. And some might be voluntary, some might be paid for. International, rather. Oh, laureates as well. It was just two letters that I was missing, but thank you so much for these hearts coming in. I really appreciate it. And we're sitting on 13 likes. I'm just going to add one to what I see. We're sitting on 13 likes. I headbutted the mic. I said I'd do it by the end of the stream. Um, if we can get to 15, that would be great. If we can get to 20 by the end of the stream, I'd love that, guys. So if you're here and you're watching and you don't want to get involved in the chat, that's fine. But please do hit that like button. It would mean a lot to me. The laureate here gets money. Interesting. Yeah, I think some do, some don't. It depends on. I mean Boston. I think you said right. You're in Boston. is a big city. I can imagine there's enough money to pay out, but little towns I can't see it happening. Over here, I think the majority of laureateships are voluntary. I think even I could be wrong. I think even the national laureate. I don't think Simon Armitage gets paid. Could be very wrong though, and please correct me if I am wrong. Out of interest, I looked up the poet laureate in the Republic of Ireland. Was surprised there is one from my county. We need to. It's hard. It's like my nemesis, guys. We'll need to look into it, possibly. Yeah, definitely go for it. I don't think London has a laureateship. And Guildford is, I think, the only city in Surrey. I don't think Guildford has a laureateship. Could be wrong. I know that there's no laureate of Surrey, the county of Surrey. More into it. I'm in Malden, near Boston. The city pays 2,500 stipend per year. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's good. Do you guys think they're important or do you just think they're outdated? That's what I want to know. Do you think they actually serve a purpose or are they outdated? And I'm gonna wait to hear what you guys think before I give you my opinion because sometimes I think I told you that I received a message once from someone saying that she didn't want to speak up because she had a completely different view than me, and that's not what these live streams are about. If you're watching this, that's not what these live streams are about. Like, please, if you have a different opinion, feel confident enough to have that different opinion and express it because I'm not gonna bite your arm off. All I ask is that you're just respectful about it, and we're all respectful to each other. Unlike that person who left that comment in the last live stream. But yeah, I think London has a young people laureate. They do. I spoke to her actually about possibly interviewing her for the magazine, but she was so busy. But very nice, very nice. I forget her name now. I think she was the youngest young people's laureate. But is it London? From looking it up, is it London or is it national? I thought it was national. No, it is London. You're right. You're right. It is London. I can't think of her name, but I did speak to her briefly. I'm not sure if she's still London Young People's Laureate. I know she was the youngest there's been at the time. I don't know if she's still laureate or not. I think poet laureate is important. Poetry is important. I feel that without it, poetry will mostly disappear. Yeah. Do you think the young laureates are more important than just regular adult laureate? I think they function as ambassadors. Exactly. Yes. I think they function as ambassadors for poetry. Yes. Which is why I ask, are the young laureate more important because they're bringing it to younger people and more county, city, statewide settings here. They give visibility to the art form. Yes, it probably depends on the laureate and what they are doing. Yeah, I think it can be a powerful position for sparking a joy for poetry in people who have never been experienced, haven't been exposed to it. Yeah, 100%. I'm of the same opinion. I think they're quite important. And as far as I know, laureates are left somewhat to their own devices and they can do as much or as little as they want. I think if you get a great laureate who's really proactive and really wants to make something of their laureateship, I think is an amazing thing. I think youth laureates are outworking the older ones. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you can argue that the older ones have other responsibilities and stuff. But I think young laureates are I would argue more important because they are the ones that are going out and inspiring other uh, young young potential poets. Yeah, exactly, Judge Def. Young laureates are just as important. They will inspire kids their age more than an adult would. 100%, 100%. Young people's laureates are so much more important. What an entry point for other young people to be introduced to poetry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We seem to be on the same page as each other here. I would say so. Yeah, for sure. By the way, guys, I didn't make any coffee. I made chamomile tea. I'd already had two mugs of coffee. I had one just before going live, and then as the countdown music was playing, I topped up my mug from a flask. So I didn't want to make a third coffee and be absolutely buzzing off the walls. So I'm drinking chamomile tea at the moment. I was going to say, does anyone have a favorite laureate? I tell you what, Garage Poets Open Mic, you seem to have quite a bit of exposure to laureates. One at your live stream, and you're in regular contact with your current laureate. What do you think? What do you think makes a good laureate? What qualities should a laureate show, and what makes a laureate stand out for you? And anyone can answer that question. Actually, what do you think qualities make a good laureate? I'm going to try and adjust this because I'm very much sitting up trying to get to it. Let's see how let's see how that goes. I'll wait for the preview to catch up so I can see it. Hot tea for me. Nice. Hot green tea, sorry. Nice. I'm going to take my youngest to the park. I'll probably listen in when I get there. Okay, no worries, Garage Poets. Thanks for stopping by. And I appreciate um that's better. I appreciate you getting involved in the chat. Earl Grey hot. I've never had an Earl Grey tea in my life. Never. So you can all laugh at me. Ooh, lovely. I just had a lemon and honey green tea myself. Very, very nice. Ooh, I fancy that now, actually. Good question. I have to think. Yeah, have a think, and if you can rejoin us after the park, then definitely do so. How about everyone else? What do you think makes what qualities would you want in a poet laureate? For me, the one that would make them stand out, and I understand that laureates, for the most part, most laureates are doing so on a voluntary basis. But for me, an important one would be being proactive. A proactive laureate who's actually going out and making the most of their title and spreading the message, if you like. We've been sitting on 12, 13 likes for a while now. If you are just coming in and you haven't already, please like that video. Please like that video. Please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Let's try and at least get to 15. I think what makes a good poet laureate is somebody who has dedicated themselves to their craft. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, but I'm more looking at not what would make them a laureate, but once they've got their laureateship, what would then what would then make them stand out from the crowd? What would you want to see from your laureate? So again, for me, it would be being proactive and not just taking the title and kind of not really doing anything with it. Hey, Nikki. I'd like them to address topics that are relevant, for sure, for sure, for sure. When I think of poets, I feel like they either write about timeless topics or contemporary social issues. Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. I think, yeah, for me, I don't know if it's just because Um, and I hope it shows in the YouTube videos and stuff. For me, I love kind of connecting with poets and kind of just um giving as much of my experience and as much of my knowledge as I possibly can. When I got into poetry, I didn't really have anywhere to go to kind of learn it. I had to self teach myself, and mostly I think I've spoken about it mostly because I never really felt comfortable doing that until I found out Jim Morrison did it. Hence why I created the Poetry Cove. So everything people need in terms of studying, you've got the academy, forum for connecting with other poets and just having people like-minded people around you, and then you've got like we had the radio. It's not up at the moment, but the radio and the magazine for exposure and stuff. But that's what I would want from a laureate, and that's what I would kind of want to do if I ever became a laureate. Um, it would be just being proactive and just bringing poetry to people that might not necessarily take it seriously. Like I don't know, maybe get a team together and just go around all the different pubs and I don't know, get drunk and proper art, butch men to get together and have a pint and write a poem or something like that. I don't know, does that make sense? But yeah, proactivity is the big one for me. Actually going out and bringing poetry to people that wouldn't necessarily think about poetry. Am I waffling again? That's another one for you, BB Ezra, waffling. Do you guys use that waffling when you're just talking a load of nonsense? Laureates seem to shy away from the issues. Yeah, I feel like that too. I feel like that too. I know that Simon Armitage and listen, I like Simon Armitage. I like his poetry. I think I've said it already on one of these live streams. Paper Aeroplane, the collection, has a poem in it that made me tear up and really touched me and stood out for me. But he seems to be concentrating more on he's formed a band, right, guys? Have you seen he's formed a band? And he seems more focused on that than his laureateship. I'd rather a poet laureate kind of really dedicate themselves to the title and go out and do things. I may be wrong. I don't know a huge amount about the role, but as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, yeah. Throw in some Uncle Ben. If they get out there, learn, and write about significant events, that's what I'd expect of a laureate. Yeah, I don't see how writing a poem about football is serving the role well. Yeah, I on it. Look, I'm gonna look. Okay, I'm gonna be completely blunt with you guys, and I might regret this. I feel like Simon Armitage could do more as the national poet laureate. Every now and then he'll bring he brought a poem out for the No, I'm not going to say that because I don't think I know enough. Simon Armitage could be doing a lot more than what I'm aware of, and he just doesn't post it on his Instagram. So, yeah, I'm going to stop. I've already said it, but I'm going to retract that because he might be doing a lot more than I'm actually aware of. There's a great poet that I do know of, Joelle Taylor. She just won a couple of years ago. She won the T.S. Eliot Prize, but she does a lot, guys. Like she's just done something. She's just helped out a foundation that works with like prisons and stuff, and she does a lot. She runs a slam event at the Royal Festival Hall. I can see. You've heard it here first, folks. I can see Joelle Taylor being poet laureate for 100%. She's going to be a poet laureate at some point, whether it's the next one or the one after that. Joelle Taylor will be poet laureate, and you can when they do, you can say Adam Gary predicted that. And definitely look them up as well. Joelle Taylor. She brought out a poetry collection which won T.S. Eliot Prize, which is I'll put it in the chat. I'm not going to say that out loud for obvious reasons, but that's her collection that won the T.S. Eliot Prize 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and she will be poet laureate at some point. Trust me. I hope I added her on LinkedIn. Um, I added them on LinkedIn a couple of days ago, actually. Let's see if they. Why do I keep doing that? Let's see if they accept. Please don't hate me, guys. I don't know how to use LinkedIn. I've only just started using it. I've had a profile on there for forever. I've only just started trying to use it. I'm trying to kind of get my network, my poetry network, bigger. I don't even know. There's nothing on notifications, but it doesn't notify me when anyone accepts my network request. So let's just go into, let's just search them again. No, it's still pending. How dare they? Oh, I've heard of Joelle. I went to an exhibition she was art director of at South Bank. She does a lot with South Bank a few weeks ago. I actually, do you guys remember when I told the story of walking behind the two elderly ladies and they were like slagging off Insta poetry and stuff? So the event I was going to was the 50th anniversary of a very well-established poetry organization in the UK, of which it's really annoying that I can't think of it. But I went up to the bar to order a coffee. Coffee. It wasn't a coffee. I think it was just a beer. Or was it a coffee? Anyway, I went up to the bar and the card reader wasn't working, so they couldn't accept payment. And Joelle was at the bar as well. And we just made a joke about getting free beverages. But that was fun, yeah. She's got a very distinct look of the grey suit and the spiked up hair and stuff. But trust me, guys, you heard it here first. They are going to be poet laureate at some point. 100%. The amount of work that they put in, as you said, the art director. Wait, did you say a few weeks ago? Did you say a few weeks ago? A few weeks ago. This might be the event that I was talking about with the. I'll go back on their LinkedIn. Hang on. Artistic director at Slam Ambassadors. She's artistic director of Slam Ambassadors. It's a slam night. It wasn't a coffee actually. It was just a beer. Yeah. Um, let's have a look. There was a lot of posts that they were tagged in. Okay, now it's not coming up. Typical. Typical. Let me search the name. Maybe that's what happens. Search the name and go to posts. But yeah, they're all over. They're all over LinkedIn in case of emergency. Okay, this was it. As always, powerful art and poetry at annual Coastler Arts Exhibition. Was that it? Coastler? Koestler Arts Exhibition. Lots of posts on LinkedIn about it. Coastler Arts is a prison arts charity that encourages people in the criminal justice system to change their lives by participating in the arts. They have an annual exhibition this year. It was curated by Joelle Taylor, and so on and so forth. But Joelle does so much for poetry. Either they'll be the next poet laureate or the one after that for sure, Joelle. There's also a guy, I can see his face. He does a spoken word poetry, a spoken word program on Sky One. I've got it all recorded on my Skybox. Spoken word Sky One. Let's see. And I also know that he's very, very big on the scene. He presents it. Oh, what's your name, sir? What's your name? Life and Rhyme. Come on. Accept all. Let's have a look. British writer, series hosted by Benjamin Zephaniah. Big, big name on the spoken word, the UK spoken word and poetry scene. I can imagine, I can see him being a poet laureate as well at some point. Yes, Coastler Arts. Okay, that's the one. I was invited to the reading of the release of the new anthology. Fantastic. How was it? Was it good? In case of emergency. Oh, that was the name of the exhibition. Okay. How was it? Did you enjoy it? I feel like a jaded. By the way, not so much now because I've been so bad. I need to get on it. But in the South Bank Centre, if you go up to the National Poetry Library, they have the Poetry Cove magazine. I haven't sent them the last two issues because you guys know where I've been. I just about published it. I just about pulled myself together to even make it. So I need to email Russell and say, hey, sorry about my absence. I need to. Here's a backlog of a couple of issues. I feel like a jaded cynic saying this, but I really can't think of many people from my generation that could be a viable candidate for laureateship. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. As I say, I think Joel, Benjamin, I love Benjamin. I can see those two being laureates. Um, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. The thing is, like the young, I wish I knew her name. I'm gonna Google that as well. Sorry, guys, I'm spending a lot of time with my head in my phone. But let me try at least talk about her by name. Young London London poet laureate. But there are many poets that aren't taking social media seriously and are in the shadows and in the wings, so we may not know them yet. Yes, you can use my location, I suppose. Let's have a look. 2020 Cecilia Knapp. Cecilia Knapp is the one I'm talking about. Online following, but maybe there are some really great people in the shadows. It was a great evening, some amazing stuff read. Joel presented it and was great. It got a little out of control in the second half, but Joel pulled it back really well. It got out of control? What do you mean it got out of control? Do tell more. That's like planting a little nugget. I think Ocean Vuong might be someone in the US that may one day be considered. That name rings a bell. That name rings a bell. I believe one of the Poetry Cove bloggers might have done a piece on them. As for the exhibition, I did find myself a little disappointed by the presentation. I think if you're showcasing art from prisoners, I would like to believe there is also a human behind the art. Yeah, as someone who didn't see the exhibition, I can't possibly comment, but yeah. Do you watch the annual BBC4 poetry season? I swear Benjamin Zephaniah was featured in the last one. No, I don't even know what that is. How bad is that? I don't even know what that is. Could you tell me a bit more about that? Is that a TV show? I'm going to turn the heater on, guys. Sorry, I'm getting very cold again. No, do tell me a bit more about the BBC4 poetry season. Well, a lawyer was asked to read poetry on behalf of their client and ended up giving us a lesson on how to legally carry a weapon. That sounds like a good time. That sounds like just the right amount of chaos that I would enjoy. Oh dear. We have been sitting on 12 or 13 likes for a while now, guys. If you haven't already and you're in the shadows, please do hit that like button. Let's try and get ourselves up to 15 by the end of the first half. We're having a good little chat here, actually. He was bonkers. It did take away from the poetry, though, as goofy as it all was. Yeah, that's a shame. If it doesn't do the poet justice, then that's not good. You should at least at least no, you should respect the art and the artist. Maybe he was a bit jumped up because he was performing in front of an audience. I don't know. Maybe he thought he was being funny. I don't know. I wasn't there. I couldn't possibly comment. I'm just assuming. He was bonkers. The South Bank Centre actually does quite a lot of poetry stuff. His client's poetry, though, was some of the best of the night. It was a shame that it wasn't the focus. Ah, that's a shame. I feel bad for Joel as well. You wouldn't expect stuff like that. Was he doing it as a joke? Was he trying to be funny, or was he just completely oblivious to the fact that he was going off on some weird tangent? The BBC runs an annual poetry season full of documentaries, features different poets. It is worth looking out for. Please definitely give me a nudge for that. Do you know when it usually is? I'll have to look out for that. I don't turn the TV on very much at all, unfortunately. But yeah, if there's something going on, it's Benjamin Zephaniah is probably involved in some aspect. He's a very big name on the UK scene. I think all of the above lot. He was quite the character. Okay, he's probably on. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, especially about a lawyer. I'll get a letter through the post about defamation of character or whatever. I think he was very much being himself. Okay, just at the wrong time and place. Got you, got you, got you. I've just got this Better Call Saul character in my head right now reading it. Actually, I quite like Saul. He's quite a character. But I think he would be able to read the room and know not to. Well, I don't know. I don't know. There are a lot of events actually in the. They've got something coming up this month, the South Bank Centre, I think. And then I know in the last issue, they had a 70-year celebration. It was their 70th year anniversary, the National Poetry Library, I think. And they had something going on for that. That was quite a good. I wasn't expecting that. The laureateship stuff. I didn't think that was going to be a good, quite as good as it was topic of discussion. But that's lasted us pretty much the whole, a good chunk of the second part. So that was a good one. As always, guys. If you ever think of something, please do bring it to the table because as much as I'm the host and obviously it's my channel and stuff, it's really important that we kind of bring things to the table to discuss so that I'm not just kind of sitting here looking into the abyss. And you guys know what happens when I start riffing and start just talking in the moment. I end up saying some stupid things and weird sentences come out of my mouth. And then you guys go and summarize it in one sentence. And I think, why don't I just say that in the first place? I'm trying to not be jealous of the South Bank Centre as I sit here in farmland Midwest. This is a great discussion. It is a great discussion. Sorry about the typos. No, it's all good. It's all good. I was literally just talking about the fact that I can't even get a sentence out properly sometimes and end up saying the most obscure thing ever. Yeah, the South Bank Centre is a great place. It really does do poetry justice. They have a lot of poetry events going. As I say, Joel Taylor, and anyway, I think it's Adam Georgino is a co-producer, or at least he was. He has like a very Greek surname. I think it's Adam Georgino or something like that. They have a spoken word event, I think at least monthly, Maybe I am Girth. Maybe you can help me out with that one. I am finally but I'm happy I finally got to share that experience with someone. Yeah, yeah. I visited it. Oh, you did when I was in the UK for an exhibit. Oh, you did. Okay, yeah, yeah. For those of you, I don't know if there's anyone that goes there frequently, but there always seems to be a graduation going on there. Like it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, there always seems to be graduates outside with their graduation gowns and caps. I even went there. I even went there in September. And for those of you who don't know, September is the start of the academic year, at least here in the UK. And I went there like the third week of September, and there was a graduation going on. And I was with Bruno at the time, actually, and I said, "Bro, like, is that they've just started? How are they graduating when they've just started like three weeks prior?" I'm so glad you did. Yeah, definitely. This is what I mean. Thank you so much. Like, by all means, share your experiences, guys. Share your stories because it's what makes these live streams so great. It's what keeps the discussion going. So, if anyone's got any kooky stories, obviously we're all poets here. So, if you've got a kooky story around poetry, we're all gonna love it. So, don't be shy. Please do feel encouraged to share it. And likewise, if you're watching this in a playback, please do leave it in the comments because I will come back. Just don't be nice. Last time someone left a comment in a playback, it wasn't very nice, and I really didn't understand it because he was basically calling me as thick as a brick because I'm guessing he was trying to say that the artist looked into the camera and was telling his truth. But I don't understand because I never, like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was talking about the fact that I didn't understand the flashing lights. But if I took it literally, I don't think I ever said that he was lying. Anyway, you get all sorts of people on the internet. It's fine. It's not the first time I've had hate. It won't be the last time I've had hate. That comment didn't make any sense. Yeah, like I'm so open. If you have a point, I'm so open to talk about it and discuss it. And if I missed a point in his music video, like I always say to you guys, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and correct me. But do it nicely. Don't say I'm thick as a brick and then not elaborate on your point. Don't go, "You're wrong about that, but I'm not going to tell you why and explain why you're wrong. You're just wrong and you're thick as a brick." I didn't want to know. It is what it is, but it is laughable. Sometimes hate, well, all the time, guys. If you ever get hate, it's always laughable. Don't, honestly, just let it go over your head. As I say, it's not the first time I've had hate. It won't be the last time. But at least be mature enough to explain your point. If anyone understood that comment as well, like I am open, like if someone knows what he was talking about and what he was getting at, then please tell me because I didn't get it. I guess that kind of makes it easier when they show themselves up to just be a not very nice person as well. It makes it easier to just dismiss it. Okay, I did turn the heater off and immediately I'm cold again. So sorry guys, it's gonna have to come back on. I'm really sorry if you can hear it, especially now that the mic is hanging over the heater. I mean, if one actually believes someone is as thick as a brick, wouldn't you go into great detail to make sure they understand? I would have thought so. I would have thought so. Maybe it was because that video has some viral reactions that are clearly performative. You went into it totally blind to the artist and the piece. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he was getting at the fact that maybe misinterpreted some lyrics. But I don't think throughout that whole video, I don't think I ever tried to interpret the lyrics because um, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I felt under a lot of pressure only because I didn't know whether or not the stream was working. In the end, it wasn't really working. But I don't think I ever went into detail about analysing the lyrics because I don't like to do that on the spot. You need time to really go through it. The only thing I was kind of well, not even debating, just I just said I wonder what those uh, flashing lights represent and stuff. Oh well, these are broken people we are speaking about. They don't work with logic. As in, some reactions are so over the top that it's almost another performance piece. Yeah, well stated. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Very angry person just taking it out on little old me. But I got thick skin. I got thick skin. I mean, that, sometimes in life things just go wrong, don't they? And everything about that, from the playback only uploading the last 30 minutes of a nearly 2 hour long stream. Don't know what happened to the first hour or so of that playback, just disappeared. Then it got demonetized. And again, I said in the comment, and I've already said in this stream, if I really wanted to, I could have fought against that copyright because I provided commentary and I was pausing, and that's within the law. You can do that, hence reaction videos. And then you got the hate. So in the end, I was like, do you know what? This is let's just take down this video, Adam. It isn't worth it. It was probably maybe. But yeah, it is what it is. But if you guys ever receive hate, the first time is difficult. And there's always going to be that initial shock. Obviously, when I first read it, I had a bit of a second where I was like, whoa. But then you just it does become laughable. So if you ever get hate, feel free to message me on the Poetry Cove and I'll chat with you. But try not to let it get to you. I know it's easier said than done, but I've received hate a number of times, so you get used to it. You kind of build up a block, a wall, should I say. All right, guys. I think this has been a really good live stream. Actually, we've had a good couple of discussions. I'm just going to look at my notes and see if there's anything that we could possibly discuss for 10 minutes or so, or if we just wrap it up. So we did when is the best time to read poetry? We did that, so I'm going to take that off of my notes. I think I've got some good topics here, so I don't want to try and squeeze them into 10 minutes. I want to save them for a full hour's worth of discussion. So does anyone have any fun stories? Has anyone been to? I'll tell you what, there is one. There is one. So we're talking about we've touched upon it with I Am Girth seeing Joelle Taylor perform. I believe Nikki, you said you've seen Margaret Atwood perform. Has anyone been to really amazing poetry shows? Is there a way to follow some of you on here? I don't really know how it all works on YouTube. Not necessarily follow. You can subscribe. But there isn't, that I'm aware of, a follow button. But if you guys want to connect with each other, feel free to put your Instagrams in the chat. Keeping in mind that this will get uploaded as a playback, so anyone that watches the playback will also see you put that in the chat. So that's up to you. Or the Cove, if you're a member of the Poetry Cove. Definitely the journal thing, definitely. So I'm really interested. Has anyone seen some cool poetry shows? I know Iron Girth mentioned the exhibit with the crazy lawyer and Joelle Taylor. I believe Nikki at some point has mentioned Margaret Atwood. I used to go to there was a really great poetry and jazz night in London that I discovered when Sophie came over. I was looking for poetry things for us to do. And I actually spotlighted them in the Poetry Cove magazine, the very first issue. Nowhere Nights. It came to me before I got there. Nowhere Nights. But unfortunately they're not a thing anymore. They stopped They stopped doing it, but they were awesome, guys. That was such a good night. Basically, the owner, Oliver, um, would bring in a band and two poets, one each, like we do here, two parts. And the poets would read their poetry, and then the jazz band behind them, would literally jazz, right? Would literally make up the music as the poet went along. It was so good. It's really such a shame that they're not around anymore. Hello to the new viewers. We've got another 6 minutes to go in the stream, but please do like that video. Let's try and get to 15. If we can get two more likes, one more like, I'd be really great. But has anyone seen some poetry nights? Or is there any performance that has maybe an open mic? Doesn't necessarily have to be a professional show, but anything that really stands out. And why does it stand out? What makes a good poetry reading and a good poetry show? Atwood was hands down the best performance I've seen live. I can imagine that was really amazing. She has such a presence that likely comes from decades of experience, for sure. Yeah, I'm a bit jealous on that one, Nikki. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit jealous. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, Nowhere Nights, Nowhere Nights. It was so good, guys. I can't even like if you can imagine the jazz band just, riffing off of a poem. It was man. It was a monthly thing as well. I'd always go, well, not always. Once I discovered them, I went every time until unfortunately they stopped. I think Oliver was pivoting and trying to do something else. Actually, I wonder what he is up to now. I'm gonna have to look him up after this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we might have hit 15 likes. Thanks, guys. And if nothing really stands out to you about a cool show you've seen, what do you think would make a poetry show? Thank you so much for hitting that heart. Um, we've got 4 minutes left. We haven't got too long left, and I think we have briefly spoken about this. Uh, I kind of told you what I would do if I ever was lucky enough to put on a poetry show or a poetry tour and have like the whole set and a pianist in the background and maybe some interpretive dancers doing some sort of slow dancing or ballet or whatever. What a great chat. Thank you for all the time. I hope your stream continues to grow. Thank you so much for being here, BB Ezra. I know time difference is difficult, but I really hope to see you again in A Silly Lawyer. I really hope to see you again in future streams for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to give it a little bit longer, just in case there are, some of you are actually typing out a response to my, poetry performance question, and then we will wrap it up. Whoa, that. Oh yeah, no worries, Tanya. I was just seeing if anyone has seen like a poetry performance that stood out for them, or a poetry show, or if not, what they think would be would be a standout element of a poetry show, I guess. That's a cool idea, Nikki. Maybe like blind tasting. You can hear the poet but not see them. That would be such a great idea. Yeah, that's a really unique idea. That's a really unique idea. All right, guys, I'm just going to give it another minute or so just to see if anything else comes in regarding the performance thing, and then we will take off for the evening, and I'll see you on Thursday. But I think this has been a really great live stream, and I really needed this as well. Thank you so much for all popping in and taking part. Any attention is good attention. Indeed. Um, Indeed. Welcome to the stream, Dazzle in the Dark. Unfortunately, we're just wrapping up, but hopefully you can take part in future streams. I was just about to say that I really needed this, guys. Thank you so much. I think most of you, if not all of you, saw the community post. So I was really looking forward to today, and it did not disappoint. We all really got stuck into the conversation, and it was really good. So thank you so much. I am going to leave it there and say good night to you all, or good afternoon to some of you. And I will see you on Thursday, folks. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the conversation and the continuous support. You guys really are the best. And I'll see you on Thursday. See you later, guys.